Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome, and if you are returning, welcome back and thank you. Today's video is going to be a plant-based meal prep. I'm just going to prep a few things for the week. I am new to being plant-based, so this is not going to be anything glamorous. It's just going to be some things I need for the week to keep us plant-based. First, I'm just going to chop up a bell pepper and onion. I am cooking my breakfast in the background, so I'm just going to put some of the bell pepper and onion in a pan for my hash browns. And here you see me putting something under the cut board because I was turning into one of my biggest pet peeves on YouTube, which is somebody whose cutting board or whatever they're cutting their produce up on is just constantly moving around under the knife, and it drives me crazy. And mine was just doing the same thing, so I just put a wet washcloth under it so that it wouldn't move. And here I just soaked some of these cherry tomatoes in some vinegar in the OXO Salad Spinner. Funny story about the OXO Salad Spinner, I accidentally ordered 2 of those off of Amazon, so now I am stuck with one that I haven't even opened because I don't know what to do with it and I don't want to send it back. I'm saving a few of those, and I'm just going to show you here what I do with these after I have them meal prepped. I just slice them up, and then I'm going to put some garlic salt on it. And then I will add some classic hummus to the toast and the tomatoes. And that's normally the only thing I use the tomatoes for. And I had already washed these potatoes and thought I was recording, but I wasn't. So I was just going back over them with some hot water to make sure that they were good and clean, because I do leave the skin on them when I cook them. And I forgot to poke them before I put them in the Instant Pot. I'm putting a cup of water in the bottom of it and leaving the rack in and adding the potatoes. And I cooked them on high pressure for 15 minutes. And here I'm chopping the onion and garlic for the vegan cheese sauce that I'm about to make. This all will be going in a blender, so it doesn't really matter how you chop the onions or the garlic up. And I'll saute the onions and garlic in a little bit of the vegan Earth Balance butter. And when those get done, I'm just going to be adding them to the blender. I also add onion powder and pink Himalayan salt to this. Just cook them a few minutes until they're softened, and then you'll add them to the blender. The potatoes are done at this point. I have my Ninja blender and the nutritional yeast, and then that's the mason jar that I'm gonna put the cheese in when it's done. I add 2 of the smaller potatoes into the blender, and then I just pulse this a little bit to get the potatoes started mixed, and then I'll add the nutritional yeast and the vegetable broth. I probably ended up adding about 2 cups of the vegetable broth and a cup to a cup and a half of the nutritional yeast. You'll just have to do it to your own texture and taste. And then when this is all blended up the way I want it, I will put it on the stove and warm it up a little bit. And give it another taste because I did end up having to add more salt. Now just add the cheese sauce to a measuring cup with a pour spout to make it easier to pour it into the mason jar. And at this point it's lunchtime, so I am gonna fix me one of the potatoes, and I just open it up. I don't put anything else on it except for the cheese sauce. And that's what I had for lunch. And then I had 4 potatoes left. Now I am about to pickle a purple onion. I'm adding a cup of water and a cup of white vinegar to a pan with some sea salt. And then you just want to let that come to a boil and turn it off. And then just get your onion chopped up and put into the mason jar, and then you'll just pour this into it, put it in the refrigerator, and once it's cold, it's ready to eat. And that's it. That's all you have to do. And I'm just going to put the rest of these purple onions up. And next I made some plant-based chili. This is just 1 can of diced tomatoes. I use the basil and oregano flavor. 2 cans of Great Value chili beans. 1 package of McCormick's chili mix, chili seasoning. And then I add garlic salt and onion powder. And I end up adding a can of drained and rinsed black beans too. And the night I made this, we ate it as dinner, just the chili. But the meal prep portion that I put up, we will probably put on some of the baked potatoes with some of the cheese sauce. And now I'm making one of our favorite meals that normally would have meat in it. It's called chicken cacciatore, but we love it without the meat, so I do still fix it as a meal prep. I'm just putting some butter in to saute some of the onions and bell peppers that I prepped earlier. And then I will add a can of the basil and oregano diced tomatoes and 1 package of the dry zesty Italian seasoning mix. And that'll be all for that. I added some onion powder and garlic salt. And we just eat this on rice. I did end up having to add a little bit of olive oil to the onions and bell peppers. And that is it for that. Just, you want to cook it a few minutes to get the bell peppers and the onions done. And we just add this to rice, and it is really good for meal prep because it heats up really good. And now I'm just gonna get some of this rainbow kale and these carrots prepped to put in the freezer. The kale, I'm gonna do half a bag at a time in the OXO Salad Spinner with a little bit of vinegar. And I'm gonna let that sit while I get these carrots bagged. They are already pre-washed and ready to eat. I'm the only person in my house who will eat carrots, so I'm gonna separate this into individual bags and get them frozen so that they don't get wasted. And after I drain the kale, I'm just gonna do the same thing with it and get it put in freezer bags for smoothies. And then I will soak the other half of the bag and get it done the same. I ended up with 4 bags of carrots and 8 bags of kale to go in the freezer. And that is going to be all for this meal prep video. And I'm just going to put in a little recap of what all we ended up with. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing to become part of the family. Thank you all for watching.